Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Karens. In today's episode, Kevin and Karen and the Cat Tower. You know how it's done? Right then. Entitled Karen doesn't believe I have surgery. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Kevin and Karen and the Cat Tower. We recently bought a new cat tower. We have 5 cats who play hard, and the old tower was definitely showing use. The cats had torn up the carpet and sisal, vomited in one of the cubes, and decapitated the hanging mouse, whose name is Earl, because why not? We set up the new tower, and after asking around to our friends, couldn't find anyone who wanted it. So we took it out to the curb to get rid of it. Large trash pickup was coming up, so we figured if anyone wanted it, they would have plenty of time to grab it before trash pickup. In our neighborhood, as long as the item is not on the curb for more than a week, you won't get cited for having trash in your yard. No big deal, right? Oh, no, it's a big deal because Karen and Kevin have decided they want the tower. I work from home, but my office is in the back of my house. We have a Ring camera, and around 10 a.m. one morning the doorbell rings. I am in a meeting with my boss, so I check the app, see that I don't know who these people, Kevin and Karen, are, and go back to my meeting. About 45 minutes later the doorbell rings again. Now, I'm out of my meeting, and since I'm expecting packages, I check the app, see that it's the delivery guy, and then head out front to grab my packages off the porch. I hear the notification going off on my phone as I'm opening the door, and there stands Kevin and Karen with my packages and the cat tower. Kevin is holding my packages. Me, can I help you? Kevin, we are interested in the cat tower. Me, go for it, it's been left out for large trash, you can have it. May have my packages, please? Karen, the carpet and the sisal on the tower is torn. I'm going to need you to fix that before we take the tower. And there is vomit on it, that needs to be cleaned as well. Me, I'm not going to fix anything on the tower, we are throwing it away. If you want the tower, take the tower. If not, it will be picked up later this week with large trash. Now, may I please have my packages? Kevin, obviously realizing I'm not concerned at all about the state of the cat tower, well, we still want the cat tower. I'm just going to leave it on your porch, and we will come back with our truck this weekend and pick it up. He is still holding my packages. Me, that won't work for us. See, we are trying to get rid of the tower, and I don't want it on my porch, which is why it is on the curb. So, if you want the tower and you aren't going to take it right now, I'm not going to hold it for you. Please give me my packages. About this time my phone started ringing and I needed to get back to work. But I wasn't going to leave without my packages. Just as I am about to get angry with these people, my retired military grizzled biker-looking neighbor pulls up in his pickup truck. My neighbor calls over to me and starts heading over to where we are standing on my porch. I guess Kevin got nervous, so at that point he shoved my packages at me and then said, well, just leave the tower on the porch and we will pick it up when we can. Yeah, that's not going to work for me, and when Kevin and Karen walk off, I turned to my neighbor and asked him to help me carry the cat tower back down to the curb. A little while later I had to run an errand, and when I got back, the stupid cat tower was back on my porch. Y'all. What the absolute stupid hell? My kid, F19, got back from class a little while later and asked why the cat tower is back on the porch. I told her the story, she rolled her eyes and groaned, and I went back to work. About 30 minutes later, she came into my office laughing. Me, what did you do? MK, took the cat tower back down to the curb. Me, how, that thing is heavy as hell. MK, it was really easy once I took it apart and put all the hardware in this Ziploc bag that accidentally fell into the trash can with the used cat litter. So if Kevin and Karen want the cat tower, it's still available. but they will have to go dumpster diving for the hardware. Fabulous daughter. Excellent parenting. Leave a cryptic clue for them on the dismantled tower that takes them on a diabolical clue chase to find the hardware. Nice work. If they touch your packages again, remind them that it is a criminal offense to tamper with someone else's mail, and that your friendly protective neighbor is watching them. That criminal thing only applies in some cases to USPS mail. I am just so impressed that you managed to throw out a ratty old cat tower. Every time we get a nice new one, we leave the old one nearby for a bit to ease the transition. Then the old one moves to a corner somewhere and suddenly acquires cats. None has made it successfully out of the household. Ratty old cat towers are priceless real estate to most cats. They have all the right smells and all the right scratch marks in all the right places. I think cats look at new towers and think, well shit, now I have to break another one in. You raised your daughter right. Congratulations on giving your daughter the tools she needs to succeed. And she is great at using those tools to take things apart too. Great ending. I am surprised Kevin and Karen didn't knock to insist you put it back together for them. You know how it's done? Right then. So, about 15 or so years ago, I was working in a little metal working firm. Two brothers owned 30 or so workers, metal casting, further processing up to including wires and other things. Bad explanation is bad. We had about 5 women working in production, me, my mom, and 3 others. One of them was the unofficial sweetheart of one of our bosses. Karen, changing name for privacy, couldn't do wrong. Whatever went wrong wasn't her fault, ever. I had a run-in with her a few times already and it wasn't the best, but I'm more of the silent type, let others do what they want, I'll do my thing, etc. Us women were mostly there for preparing the product for sending out. Washing metal bits, grinding back seams, sorting small things into good and broken/not fully cast, etc. I've been working there summers in the 90s, with my gran as unofficial supervisor, and she showed me the ropes. Later when I worked there full-time I knew the ins and outs of thing, and some tricks gran worked out along the way. Especially with our washing machines. Imagine them as a big bowl, filled with specially formed stones, add water and cleaning agent, the metal bits, and it would vibrate and the stones rubbing against the product with soap and water would clean the product from residual oil and other things. One of the machines required a more special touch apart from throw in, start, done. I've been working there long enough and been shown by Gran and Mum how to set up that machine. It polished the metal on top of cleaning it with tiny spherical metal bits. Never cared enough to ask what they were made of, it was enough to know how to use it to make things shine. So, one day I get a call, boss asking if I was washing something at the moment and what I was working on. I told him no, done with washing. I was just now drilling the last holes and preparing the product for shipping out. He said he'd send Karen down with something time sensitive, and that was that. Karen comes down an hour later, crate with time sensitive products has been there for a while, and it's coated with oil, soot, and all things nasty, ready to be cleaned and polished in that special machine. I ask if she needs help or some pointers, since I know that machine is a bit complicated to set up right. She looks at me, dirty and sweaty as I was from actually working, and she was nearly pristine from doing whatever she did with the boss, don't care, keep me out of it, and sniffs. Tells me she knows how to wash them and disappears in the washroom. Well then, if you know. A colleague comes over and asks if she ever used that machine and I shrug and tell him, not that I know of. She wasn't very popular there, can you tell? I go back to work, time goes by, lunch, more time, and then our boss shows up, product needs to be sent out today. Not long after there's a shout for me to come to the washroom. Turns out Karen doesn't know how to use the machine. The whole thing is oily, black, and nasty, product looks worse than before. She used the wrong cleaning agent, didn't add the polishing powder at the right time, and pretty much ruined the whole thing up. Boss asks me why I didn't say something, help her, intervened, anything. Well, she said she knew what to do, asked colleague he was there. Door to the washroom is closed and I have other things to do than to stick my nose where it's not wanted. Do I know how to deal with this problem? Sure. Machine and stones need cleaning, product needs cleaning, it's gonna take a while. In the end, Karen was allowed to finish my dirty work and I spent the rest of the day cleaning up her mess. I wasn't allowed to leave the washroom, boss's orders. So I started a washing cycle with the right agent and no product in to clean the machine and stones, sat down and did nothing. Then added the product, more cleaning agent and powder after the oily gunk was gone and pretty much spent half a day doing close to nothing while Karen had to do my work. I could have helped her, but us unwashed peasants were not good enough for Her Highness. A cleansing process removes the scum, but she was still there. Well, some things even the best and most thorough cleaning can't get out. In Canada, washroom equals bathroom, so I was a little confused why everything was happening in a bathroom before it clicked. Canadian also, and it took me a few minutes too for that to click, lol. Washroom makes a lot more sense than bathroom, especially if it's like a business bathroom where there's just a toilet and a sink. Even in my bathroom that has an actual bath, taking a bath is probably 1/100 things I do in here. I'm typing this from the tub RNBTW, ha. For the curious, it's an industrial vibratory part cleaner/polisher. There are many combinations of media, the metal bits, chemicals in powder, and fluid forms. It's a very interesting process that we use at a couple of my work facilities to polish and deburr machine cut parts. You can get benchtop versions that people use for rock polishing and rust removal up to larger scale ones like this. Memories. We had one small and like 3 big machines. The big ones were easy to use, the small one false move and it'd start over because it wasn't shiny enough or a disaster like Karen. 2 brothers, also known as Alien Invasion Tomato Monster Mexican Armada brothers, who are just regular brothers running in a van from an asteroid and all sorts of things, the movie. You rock. Ceramics take a special treatment and you learned it. That was awesome. You handled yourself magnificently. Beautiful karmic resolution there. Any idea what Karen is up to now? I just know that her boss had a health thing, had to resign and sell his shares to his brother, less likable boss of the two. If she's still there, she might have to work for real now. Entitled Karen doesn't believe I have surgery. This happened about 10 years ago. I was 22 at the time and had to have knee surgery to clear out shredded cartilage about a week after my birthday. This story takes place 3 days after the surgery. My mom, a nurse important for later, my husband, BF of 2 years at the time, and my best friend decided to take me shopping to try to get my mind off the surgery and to pick up craft supplies so I would be bored while off of work. I should mention it was an orthopedic surgery, so I didn't need to use crutches if I didn't feel the need and should be walking some. When we got to the craft store, not our first stop, my husband and best friend made me use one of the store's wheelchair. I was being stubborn because I could still walk, just not very fast or as long without breaks. Since I really didn't want to be in the chair, husband and friend decided to make a game out of it. Like who could push me the fastest. Now you might think we are wrong, but let me state this was in the middle of the day on a Monday, so the store was not busy and my husband and best friend would check the aisle to make sure that the coast was clear. After one of the speeding events, I was looking at something in an aisle and my mom pulled husband and best friend away to look at something. It was something she thought I would like and was going to get it as a surprise, while I decided I didn't want whatever it was that I was looking at and stood up to put it back. This is when Karen appears berating me for using the wheelchair as a toy and how there are people who actually need it. I am coming, explain. I just had surgery, and that is why I am using it. She then goes on and on about how she saw what my friends were doing and that I am obviously lying. I explained that they were trying to make me feel better, and I would tell them to push me normally from now on. This did not appease Karen, and she is still berating me. At this point, I roll up my pant leg and show her the compression bandages I am still wearing. She goes on about how that means nothing, and I could have just wrapped my knee as an excuse in case we were caught, and she bet the other people with me also have their knees wrapped. My group returns at this point and says the same thing as me. Karen is still not having it, and we are all lying. I look at my mom and ask if I can take off my bandages as they were supposed to be removed the next day. She says I really shouldn't, but she could re-wrap it for me if needed. At this point, I take off the bandages before anyone can stop me showing Karen my knee in all its post-surgery glory. It was bruised, swollen, and crusty at the incision sites, and you still see the iodine on my skin. Karen's face goes white, and she looks like she is going to be sick. She starts stammering about how I didn't need to go that far. As my mom is re-wrapping my knee, scolding me and Karen under her breath, I look at Karen and say, "What else did you want me to do? I told you, they told you, I showed you the bandages, you wouldn't get off your high horse and insisted we were lying." At this point, a staff member comes to check if we need any help, and Karen runs for the door. We had a pleasant rest of our day and stopped for ice cream on the way home. Edit, changed pickup craft supplies so I would be bored while off of work to wouldn't be bored. Along with other typos. Notes to self. Don't try to write a post at first thing after waking up. Edit 2 clarification. We were not 1. Running. 2. Drifting around corners. 3. Using the brakes while moving. 4. Doing wheelies. 5. Having more than one person in the chair. Were 1. Speed walking, with clear aisles. 2. Seeing how far I would go with one push from a dead stop. We were still very careful with wheelchair. This happened to me after my second knee surgery. My doctor gave me a permanent handicap placard because I can't walk far anymore. So 4 days after my surgery I had to get out and go to the store. As I pull and park in the handicap spot and get out, this old man comes flying over on his broomstick saying, "Hey, you can't park there." "Me sir, I just had my second knee surgery, I can park here." He goes, "You're too young to be in that spot and I don't believe you." I calmly pulled my pant leg up and he saw the bruised skin stitches and the TENS machine on it. His eyes got big and he just shuffled off. I have one leg and still get told off by old people for parking in the handicap spots with my placard because I'm apparently too young to actually qualify for one, which is super fun. "You're faking. How dare you prove you aren't faking?" That would have been a great title. I wish I had thought of it. Mind your own business, Karen. I have a handicap. When some nosy stranger demands to know what's wrong with me, I tell them I have pneumonia. When they ask what's pneumonia, I tell them it's pneumonia business. It reminds me of a friend of mine. In childhood he contracted a condition that would someday get him in a wheelchair. Someday comes, and the family goes out with dad, first time an outing in a wheelchair. Some open market, and they decide to get an ice cream from a very busy mobile stand. Not a good place for a wheelchair, so they find some shaded place on the road nearby, and go for the ice cream. Some idiot driver comes by, suddenly turns towards dad in the wheelchair, maybe he thought it was an open parking spot? Anyway, dad's first day in a wheelchair, he gets up and runs towards safety. At which point daughter, 16, calls out, "Oh my, see, a miracle, dad is walking again." Yes, a conscious joke by daughter. It remains a favored family story. WTF kind of psycho steers their car towards a wheelchair? I'm so glad your friend didn't get hurt. It never even occurred to her that you might actually be telling the truth. She'd already made up her mind, there was no way she had imagined at all what might be the consequence of insisting. She just knew that if she badgered you all enough, you would eventually cave and admit to being what she accused you of being. She got mad you showed her that because it made her look stupid, not because she was offended or grossed out, even though I'm sure she was also those things too. It's a bad sign that my first thought on this was at least the Karen didn't double down by kicking Opie's injured leg to prove they weren't really injured, like in several other stories. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.